Hi, it's Uta from Kefir Culture here, and today I'm going to show you how simple it is to make milk kefir just using milk kefir grains. So let's get started. Now all you'll need is some jars. We like using glass jars because they're inert. Because kefir has acidity to it, they don't interact. Plastic generally is not a good idea because plastic can leach into your milk kefir. So we've got a couple of glass jars here. These are about 400 mils. I'm going to make 250 mils worth of milk kefir today. So all that you need is your jar, 4 grams of milk kefir, which equates to roughly a teaspoon of grains that you add to your jar. Actually, I'll put that away. And also 250 mils worth of milk that's been left to get to room temperature to get a consistent fermentation. It keeps your grains happy, and it means that your first fermentation generally takes between 12 and 24 hours depending on the time of year and the temperature. So the warmer it is, the faster they will ferment. The cooler it is, the slower they ferment. So all you then need to do is to add your milk. It can be organic, it can be goat's, it can be a nut milk, it can be coconut milk. Pretty much most milks will do. UHT and ultra heated milks are not recommended because they don't have anything living in them. So if you want your grains to grow, we highly recommend that you use a quality milk. Otherwise, you do need to feed them intermittently. We've got some additional information for that on our website. So we've just simply added the milk. Give it a stir to unclump your grains so that they have a chance to disperse and float in the milk. Now, you can use your lid, providing you have a nice lid that has a plastic coating rather than a metal coating on the inside to ensure that you're not exposing it to metals, and either put the lid on very loosely so that there is air that can get in and out. However, one of the better ways to do it, we think, is to actually use a cotton cloth and literally just pop that over the top of your jar. Now this is quite a large cloth, so you could get a smaller one, and add your fastener. And it really is just to ensure that you're keeping any bugs out of your jar. And all you need to do is leave that for 12 to 24 hours on the bench at room temperature, away from sunlight, and that will turn into a light ferment, which is the first fermentation, which is in taste very similar to what a buttermilk tastes like. So it has slight acidity and it's also slightly thickened. Okay, this is milk after it's been fermented for 12 hours, a little bit more. And what you can see, it creates little channels once the milk is ready to be strained and the grains are ready to come out of your first fermentation. You do need a sieve and obviously a bowl that you can sieve it into. I don't have a problem with using stainless steel. You just need to make sure that it is stainless steel and that there is no inferior metals like aluminium. Aluminium will react and the grains will not be happy. Alternatively, if you can get a hold of a nylon sieve, that will also do the job. So all you need to do is basically just pour your kefir milk through the strainer and swirl it, and basically what will happen is the milk will run through it's a good idea to agitate them and just shake your sieve to make sure that the milk kefir passes through. Sometimes it'll be thicker than this, and it'll be more cottage cheese-like, and you just need to jiggle. I found the jiggling in a circular motion tends to do a really good job with getting the grains out without damaging them. So here we go. So you can see the grains starting to appear. There we go. So that's almost our grains now. There we are. And it doesn't take many grains to do the 250 ml. You only need 1 teaspoon to do that, quite happily. Okay. So we can rest that on there. And the thing to do is to get a new jar, and we'll just put that aside. And just so I'm not making too much of a mess, just literally pop them into your new jar. And they're basically ready for the next fermentation. And this is what I meant by channeling. You can see how it literally leaves little channels of where the milk is separating, with the whey separating from the actual milk solids. And that's what it generally looks like when you know that it's ready to be decanted. Okay, now that we've done the decantering and strained the grains, the milk kefir grains from your first fermentation, we basically, all we need to do is just put it into another glass jar. Very simple. And you can either choose to ferment on the bench for another 12 to 24 hours and just simply rest it. Now, what will happen when it does a second fermentation, it generally separates the milk solids from the whey. The whey actually has a considerable amount of the probiotics in it. It will make it more tangy. So as it continues to ferment and eat and consume the lactose in the milk, it will become more acidic. So that's as simple as it is. The other option is, if you don't want to do a fermentation on the bench, you can simply pop that in the fridge after you've done your first fermentation. It will still continue to ferment even while it's in the fridge, but it will do it more slowly. So there you have it. It is as simple as that. That's pretty much all there is to it. Thank you for watching.